My next interview will now be with Kelly Castle, who currently plays for Essex. So, Kelly, can you please tell me about how you really started out in cricket?
I have a little bit of a different story in terms of no one in my family plays cricket. Some a bit sporty, but they cannot catch a ball or do anything like that really. And pretty much the reason why I started was when I was in primary school. I had an Australian primary school teacher, so I was in year 6, and he was like, "Right, we're going to play cricket, just like quick cricket." There was like some competitions going on at the time, and I'd never even heard of cricket. I didn't know what it was. And we had a mixed team, and then we had a girls' team. And the mixed team, we weren't very good at all. There was like 3 girls, and the rest were boys. And then we had a girls' team, and it turns out like we all, again, none of us knew what cricket was, but we just really enjoyed playing with our mates. And we managed to get all the way through to, I think it was like the national finals up at Headingley of like quick cricket. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. And then I sort of joined a local club, which was, I say local, it was 20 minutes from me, because that was the only club that had girls' cricket. And it was, I say girls' cricket, it was more women's cricket. I think the average age back then was about 60 years old, I think. So there was like a group of us who came from school who ended up going to this cricket club. And I think still to this day, I think, although there was a bit more of us back then, but I think there's still 4 girls who are still playing cricket and are at that cricket club. So yeah, that's basically how, just pretty much because of a school teacher.
Did you feel like your family supported you when you first started playing? Because obviously you said they weren't really fans of cricket.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they were great. Like, I think I remember when I was in school when we first started, as I say, we got through to the national finals, and our head teacher at the time, for some reason, I don't know why, it all clashed with like our year 6 leavers. And so then he was like, "No, you're not going to these national finals." And I remember all of our parents at the time just was like completely fought against it and was like, "No, these girls have got, how cool would it be for like a little local primary school to go all the way up to Headingley, like, and actually experience something like that." And I know my mum was like a massive driver in that, and making sure that like we had the opportunity to do that. And yeah, ever since then, everyone in my family has been super supportive. Still to this day, none of them have played a cricket game, but hopefully eventually they might.
Is that your goal?
That's my goal in life, to get, I mean, it would be woeful, but that is my goal, to get them to at least play.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were in the England development program when you at under 15 level. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I think it was a really, really fun time. And it was great. We'd go up to Loughborough, I think once a month, training, and then we'd sort of have training camps, and then in the summer we had a few training camps and matches, and it was just really cool to meet so many other girls my age going through a similar experience, that none of us really knew what we were doing. It was quite interesting though, because I just remember thinking, like, I remember giving myself ages of like, right, if I'm not 15 and I'm not playing for England, like, that's it, I'm giving up. Because I think at that time, that was sort of, central contracts had either just started coming in or they hadn't come in yet. So it was like you had to get your foot in the door straight away. But yeah, it was a really great time to just meet so many girls. And it's funny, like, I was looking at a couple of pictures the other day, actually. I think they came up on my Facebook or something, and all those girls who were there at the time, like, it was people like Emma Lamb were there, Holly Armitage, and yeah, it's just Bryony Smith, and it was just great to see sort of like that group of girls and where we've gone on to and what careers we're doing now. I think it's really cool to see.
What was it like getting your first professional contract?
Yeah, again, I never really thought that it would ever happen, to be honest. And I was figuring out, I remember there were sort of murmurs that there was professional cricket was going to happen, and it was all in the time of COVID. So it was all very like, we had no idea what was going on. And I remember I was at uni. I just decided to, I just finished my undergrad, and then decided I was going to stay on and do a master's. And then I'd literally sort of found out, like, oh, professional cricket is going to happen, and it was obviously a condensed season, and then now there are professional cricket, professional contracts now. And I think I only like found out maybe 2 weeks before we started training that I was going to get a contract. And yeah, it was sort of all a bit of a blur, and I never ever thought that I would ever be a professional cricketer or get paid to play cricket. I'd never ever thought that, and I think it's really cool that I can say that I've done that and I'm doing that now, which is really great.
How come you had doubts about becoming professional? Was it due to barriers like your agenda or doubting your ability?
I think it was just a bit of probably the unknown, really. Probably those things massively come into it. I think being at uni and having to decide, well, I'm at uni now, do I then give up doing a master's because I need to focus on this full time, or do I go, no, I'm just not going to do it at all? And I think like we were all very new into it. I think when we first started, there was only 5 professional cricketers in each team, really, females. And no one ever taught us how to be a professional cricketer. It was like, right, you learn on the job, and that was that. And it was just a really scary thing. Definitely like self-doubt comes into it because it was just sort of like you're floating around and you've got to learn how to do these things. And then all of a sudden, like for me, like all of a sudden I was thrown into being a professional captain. And again, you don't really have anyone to learn from. It's just you're doing it on the job. So yeah, it was a really, really hard time that's fueled with being 20, 21 years old, trying to navigate your life and with so much uncertainty, really.
How did you sort of balance being a captain of a team and, you know, your academic work?
Yeah, looking back on it now, I always think like, wow, like I can't believe I managed to do that. But it was very, very fun. It was a very it's always going to be, it was a very challenging experience, but so much learning from it. And not everyone gets everything right all the time, but I just really appreciated the group of girls that I had. Our team that we had, as I say, everyone was sort of all in it together. So even though I was learning to be a captain, everyone else is learning their role in being a professional women's cricketer. So it sort of felt like we were all in it together, and we were just trying our best to be the best versions of ourselves, really.
And as well as being interested in, you know, actually playing cricket, I know you're doing a master's in psychology, also related to cricket. So can you tell me a bit about that?
Sure, yeah, because obviously having one master's is not enough, so I decided to do another one. So I'm currently just looking into research right now, actually, around ADHD in female cricketers. It's something that I think is only just starting to sort of emerge now, of definitely in women, so many late diagnoses, even in men as well, but ADHD works very differently in males versus females, and I think it's such an interesting topic. I think Emily Arlock came out last week and speaking about her diagnosis with ADHD. I think it's just finding out ways of how can anyone, no matter if you have a diagnosis of ADHD or whatever it is, thrive in cricket at whatever level you want to be at. And especially at that elite level, it's really tough. It's tough all the time, let alone having a diagnosis of ADHD. So I think it's just finding out ways of how can we really support people, specifically women with ADHD in cricket.
Do you have sort of a personal experience with that, or how come you chose to base your masters on that topic?
Sure. It's actually because my partner, so he has ADHD and OCD, and it's something that I've actually witnessed at the forefront of how he deals with it. And I think it just led me to just delve much deeper. A couple of my friends have had really late diagnosis of ADHD. So my partner, he only got diagnosed when he was 25. So yeah, only a few years ago. And seeing how everything sort of, how he navigates the world. And again, like just sort of seeing some of my friends and how they navigate the world. And there's a couple of girls that I coach. And I think that sometimes, and I've definitely been a part of or seen this happen, of coaches will turn around and be like, oh, I don't want to coach that child because they're either too loud or they're not listening or anything like that. And I think it's actually just breaking down the barriers of actually, okay, well, maybe there's a reason why that's happening, and we shouldn't just exclude them just because, they might be a bit disruptive, or how can we learn the right ways for them to learn the best way for them, really.
Is your main motivation for being a coach, actually giving those children a chance who other coaches wouldn't really take a chance on?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always think back, like, I guess personally for me, of I didn't go to private school. I just literally went to my local school. And so for me, again, a bit different, but someone took a chance on me because it was just something at the time that someone thought, you know what, if we take a chance on this person, I definitely wasn't in the right place at the right time. It wasn't that at all. I'm really proud of the journey that I've gone through. So then, okay, if I can pass that on to someone else, in whatever capacity that is, that's sort of what I want to strive to do, really.
How important do you think understanding mental health is to women's cricket?
It's so important, and I think in whatever level you're playing at, definitely from a professional point of view, the mental side is so tough. I think most of the time we talk about like cricket is 20% physical and 80% mental, and it's definitely something that I've found a massive challenge this year, just from either being injured or not being selected, and how it's all sort of panned out. Again, no one really teaches you this stuff of how to deal with it, and I think it's really important to have those support processes from anyone, so whether that's from the county or whether that's for us, like we have the PCA, which is really important. And I think it's something really important that I know THL is really trying to strive towards, and really own in on the fact of mental health is so important, and we should all talk, and hopefully that will lead to more conversations about it.
Teenage girls are 3 times more likely to develop a mental health condition. So how do you think sport can help with that?
I think sport is just such an outlet for people. I know in cricket, I think the biggest drop off from definitely for girls playing cricket is around that sort of between 15 and 18. There's so much stuff going on in girls' lives at that age, whether that's from school, whether that's from growing up, anything like that. But I think it's really important that we can just encourage as many girls, as many people to play sport, whether that's cricket or whether that's anything else, really. It's such a good outlet to see friends, whether that's friends that you meet purely because of that sport as well. I think it's just really important to get out. The research is there around how much sport influences and the chemicals that are released in your brain. There's a lot of endorphins, there's a lot of dopamine that gets released from sport. So I think if we keep listening to that and really encouraging girls to pick up a bat, pick up a ball, in whatever capacity possible, really.
Do you think parents can sometimes be a barrier to, girls wanting to play cricket? Obviously, you had a very supportive family, but I know you've done some research on that as well, the parental influence.
Yeah, so I did a dissertation on parental influences on girls' cricket, and there wasn't really much. There was a lot of research out there around boys' cricket and how maybe a mother versus a father differs and how their approach differs, but it was really interesting. I think sometimes it can be a barrier, purely because from a male perspective is different of a dad teaching their son cricket or trying to influence that versus a dad trying to teach their girl cricket. It's quite different, and there's, from what I found, there's just a lot of different approaches. And I think, to be honest, the main thing that I found actually definitely for girls, and how to navigate, and for parents how to navigate it, is actually for parents, definitely for girls, to actually listen and have that conversation versus parents sort of thinking that, oh, they know what to do, they know this, whatever. A lot of the time parents don't know what to do, like they're learning on the job as well. And I think it's really important that there are open conversations and communications, and I think that's where cricket clubs can be really important in facilitating that. As I say, a lot of the time we're a bit unsure of what way or what we're meant to be doing, but I think if we can have different resources that can really help open that conversation to actually understand what it's like for a teenage girl to be playing cricket versus a teenage boy, and actually how that all looks, really.
You feel that being a THL champion, you can really have those sort of conversations with young girls, barriers they've faced in the cricketing game, and be their role model?
Absolutely. When I was growing up, there wasn't loads of role models, and I think one part that I absolutely love about Take a Lead and being a part of it is that myself and others can be that role model for girls, and we can have those conversations. Most of the times when I was doing workshops, a lot of the stuff I mean, it's actually quite sad, actually. A lot of the stuff that they were saying, we'd lived as well. So it's sad, the fact of there are a lot of girls living the same experience, and that's 10, 15 years later. But the positive side of it is that actually we've come out on the other side. So then we've had those experiences and we've learned from them. So then what can we pass on to those girls who are younger to be able to help them learn from it as well?
Do you have one particular memorable moment from a workshop with Take Your Lead?
We asked the girls around, like, if you could have your dream cricket situation, like cricket was everything, you could have everything you possibly wanted. And a lot of the girls, one, was so imaginative, and it was really creative, and it was really great to see. But I think the one thing that stuck out for me was really simple things around, like, having more female coaches, having kit that is female and it fits them. And I think a lot of it really resonated with me and some of the stuff that I've gone through and a lot of other girls my age have gone through. And I just remember being sat there and having these conversations and being really sort of empowered to let these girls know that you guys are going to be the ones that creating change. And hopefully by the time when you get to our age, then you've seen that change happen. That's probably, one of the most memorable.
What's one thing you really want to see in the future of women's cricket?
Gosh, what a question. I think it's the same thing, isn't it? But just around, like, just equality, really. We speak so much around, like, if you can't see it, then you can't do it. If you look at all the other sports at the minute, the Lionesses, what they've achieved this year, the Rugby World Cup, everything that's been achieved, if we can just create something that gives girls and boys as well something that they can see, that actually playing cricket, whether you're male or female, is normal, and that's okay. You can get to whatever level you want to. You can travel around the world doing it, and that's okay to do that.
We've got a few quickfire questions now. So if someone could play you in a movie, who would you choose?
Probably Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Would you rather win a World Cup or win an Ashes?
The Ashes.
The Ashes. Playing at Lords or the Oval?
Lords.
And would you rather score 100 or get a hat trick?
Score 100.